It is January 28th, 2020, and we have got this week's finance news to discuss. We got one big mover, and then we got two standard leagues from MTGO to go over that have some implications for the future.
Yeah, Theros Beyond Death is out, card prices are moving around, formats are adjusting a little bit, and we're going to get into it. The video starts right now.
Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below.
Hello and welcome to the day.
Thank you for spending your time with us.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joel. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. Let's talk about this week's finance news and movers, but first, if you like the video by the end of it, consider subscribing.
There are about 100,000 Magic the Gathering cards in my house, and the only thing that there are more of are Magic the Gathering content creators. So if you think we're exceptional, please click subscribe. It really helps out the channel.
Let's hop over to the first card here that I want to talk about this week, and that is Niv Mizzet Reborn. This is a mythic from War of the Spark, and it had some hype, some brawl play, but people have been sticking it into Fires of Invention decks lately, and the card, since the 11th of this month, about 2 weeks ago, has jumped from $3.50 up into the $8 range.
Yeah, it turns out when you don't have to pay mana to cast spells, you can play some crazy 5-color stuff.
Yeah.
I first played against this card in a Modern tournament. I was playing Mill, and that was like the first time that I really saw Niv Mizzet. It was in a 5-color Modern deck, alongside Lore Scale Codal and some other, or the new Codal that triggers off snow permanents.
Right.
So it's really cool to see this card making some waves, and honestly, it's kind of like one of those hindsight is 2020. Like, I'm not super surprised.
Yeah, when you've got a flying 6/6 for 5, regardless of the colors it takes you to get there, that when it hits the battlefield, represents 6 power in the air and it refills your hand. That's a pretty good card. This card is mythic, and over the last month, that's one of the big rules that we have been preaching, is the cards that move a lot and have the highest returns are going to be your mythics because the supply is lower. I would say that this card is not quite done growing. Not sure where the ceiling on this one lie, but it does have some Pioneer playability. It's got some Standard playability. We haven't had our first big look at the pros and what they're doing to really shape the meta lately yet. All we've got is Standard leagues, which we're about to go through. I just thought Niv Mizzet's jump was very interesting.
Yeah, I think it's really cool, and mostly I really do think it's Fires of Invention, but I am excited to see what Pioneer is going to do to this card. I'm really excited for these Pioneer tournaments that are going to be coming up this year. It's a format that I'm most interested to see how it evolves.
Yeah.
What's the format going to be like? What's the player base going to be like? What is it going to be, a good format, or is it going to be stale?
Yeah, it's going to be nice to see those high-level events of Pioneer happen over the course of this year. The first Standard League I want to cover is the one that happened today. This is from the 27th. That's why we don't have deck names updated as of yet. I pulled a couple of 5-0 lists out of here that I thought were notable. This is a blue-white control kind of hero, Esper hero deck. We've got 2 Ashiok Nightmare's Muse at Mythic. Ashiok has been compared to 5-cost Teferi. Obviously, it's not as good, but being compared to that card says something. Our release...
really quick about this card, which is kind of funny, just from a finance perspective. The extended art, alternate art that appears is actually $1 cheaper than the regular pack Ashiok.
Why do you think
so?
that
Just to
is?
give you an idea of how many collector's boosters have been opened compared to normal packs, and just like how many people prefer the normal art to the new art. It's just a really interesting fact. I looked it up earlier today.
That's the statue art that you're talking about, right? It looks like
Correct.
a monument.
The statue art is $1 less than the regular pack art Ashiok.
That's very crazy. You can see that the pre-orders on this card started up in the $40 range, which is ridiculous. It got down to as low as $11, and then as release happened, it jumped up into the 20 range, and now it's settled out at about 14. The decks that I see running this card aren't running 4 of it, which I think is notable. And you know, it may jump over into Pioneer, but it's most likely that it just stays a standard playable card.
A little slow for Pioneer, yeah.
Right, but it is going to be in Standard for quite some time. And so at $14, if you think you'll play this card, you know, I wouldn't say spec this card. You're not going to make a ton of money on a flip of this. I would imagine I may be eating my words in about 3 months. However, you know, at $14, if you're going to play this card, it's probably not going to get too much lower. If you want to play, you know, the Esper Control or Esper Hero kind of format here.
5 cost Teferi, and I remember the pre-sales. 5 cost Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. I remember the pre-sale was $7.99, and I remember shrugging at that card. That just shows how bad I am at evaluating cards. I remember it being like $8 and being like, that'll probably hold around there. 5 is kind of expensive, and lo and behold, the card got as high as like $50 or $60 at one point.
Our most public failure on analyzing cards is Hydroid Krasis. We were convinced that was limited only.
Oh, God.
We were wrong. Speaking of Hydroid Krasis, which is a... let's swap over to our paper prices, which is a $20 card now. This is the Simic Ramp deck that is absolutely going crazy and taking no prisoners. It is obviously built on top of Nissa Krasis with as much mana ramp. I've seen a lot of better versions in my mind. I'm gonna say better. This is obviously a 5.0 list, sure. But the ones that are running the Sloth that lets you put a land onto the battlefield are Boreal Grazer. Yeah, but the notable one here is Uro. Uro has started becoming, I mean, people were really hyped on it, and people came off it and said it's just okay, and now we're back all the way around to it needs to be a 4 of in this deck.
Yeah, and, you know, something that we should probably talk about is, you know, we don't know what your experience is, and I have no idea what you've been through or what people have been through that have experienced Simic Ramp, but we feel, you know, we just wanted to let you know, like, our hearts are with you and our thoughts are with you. And wait a minute, are we talking about Cancer?
No, we're talking about Simic Ramp. And honestly, Jake, I've taken the if you can't beat them, join them strategy. This has become my ladder deck because it's just so resilient. The best build of this, in my mind, is the one that runs to Finale of Devastation and Enray's Forerunners. That is your finisher, because what this deck is very good at doing is filling up the board with permanents 3/3 and greater. Power and toughness with your Nissas. And so if you can stick a Finale of Devastation, drop that Enray's Forerunners. I've never played that when I've been playing this deck on ladders. I've never played that card combo and not won the game on that turn.
Yeah, I believe you.
Uro Titan is already up at $23. I mean, the card is a mythic, and if it really breaks into Pioneer and possibly Modern, I don't know, is Modern still plagued, but it's I mean, it's not going to go lower. I would say that.
No, it's a very cheap card, and it has that big thing that we always look for, which is it has velocity.
Right.
It digs, it gains life, so it has velocity, it has longevity, it has playability from the graveyard that assists in even more velocity. It's an excellent card. I have no doubt in my mind that it will do great things. In Pioneer, you're playing it as early as turn 2, and you're just starting the Uro train and the whatever Simic degenerate is going on. But you know, this is a deck where, as an experienced Magic player, I can look at it and I can tell you, yes, it's a very good deck. Do I like playing against it? Hell no, absolutely. Do I want to play it? Hell no, I do not want to play it. It's not my style. It's completely someone else's thing. But I do get it. I get why, you know, people like to win at the game, and there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, there's some really good cards in here. And honestly, in my heart of hearts, I don't actually think that anything is broken here. Maybe something is a little bit stronger than what I would expect for Standard, aka the Nissa that you're highlighting. Is just way too much. This card is always the kind of thing that's a thorn in my side. It's like the backbreaker. It's like, well, I didn't answer the Nissa, now they're just going to combo out and it's over.
I made the mistake in this video, everyone, of bringing up Simic Ramp. I apologize. I just wanted to talk about the pricing of Uro's Titan of Nature's Wrath. I know this is a trigger point for Jake. I have seen people I've seen people putting up to 3 Fabled Passages in their deck specifically because of Uro. Uro ends up eating your Growth Spirals and your Fabled Passages to come back from the dead. Yeah. Next up is a deck that I love, as you know, Gruul. It is notably running 2 Klothys of Destiny. We do see 4 Questing Beast, and you can see Questing Beast, that price. Sure. That's the price for 4 of them, obviously, but that price is going up and up because it's a fantastic card. But Klothys God of Destiny, this card is a 3-cost indestructible that is a 4-point life swing if it's hitting a non-land. And this card is only at $7. I feel like this card is underpriced right now, and as soon as it starts breaking out and becoming more popular than a 2 of, it's going to go up in price. I mean, that ability of eating something out of the graveyard is so relevant right now in Standard, and it is still relevant in Pioneer as well. And for an indestructible 3-cost 4/5 in Pioneer, I feel like this has some playability as well.
Well, what's really nice is there is a passive Punisher effect on this card, and there's a life gain effect, which is what makes it really, really good. And getting the devotion to red and green is really quick, especially when you're playing red and green. And if you're playing the right green cards, oh man, you're going to hit that devotion really fast, and then this is swinging as a 4/5, and that's a beater. An indestructible 4/5 beater is something that you really do have to deal with. And I'll tell you, we were just talking about the alternate art Ashiok. The alternate art constellation of Klothys, I was just looking at it earlier today, is hovering around $5 to $7. There are so many of these packs that are being opened right now that if you are interested in getting in on this card, I do have to say I agree with Joel. It is a card that is very low. I can't see it going much lower. Right. I think that in EDH, graveyard shenanigans are really nutty, so this absolutely has an EDH home. Being an indestructible enchantment permanent, like, that's the kind of thing that EDH players love, is something that's going to stick to the board, something that's going to damage each opponent. Oh, does this card say each opponent? 100% it does say each opponent. So do I think it's a good card? I do think it's a good card. And at $7, it's pretty low. So if you are thinking about picking it up, now is the time.
Yeah, I think it's underpriced right now. This is the other Standard challenge I wanted to go through right quick. This one happened 2 days ago, 3 days ago. Our 6-0 list was a Jeskai Fires list. It didn't have any new cards in it. It was all old nothing from Theros cards. We had 2 blue-white control, 2 mono-red aggro, which is a fun deck, but the top card right now in that one is either the Phoenix or the uncommon Anax. So nothing hugely finance related there. Then a mono-white life gain and a Rakdos Aristocrats. I want to touch on this blue-white control real fast because I was showing this to Jake. Look at this. No mythics in this entire deck. This deck is all rares, commons, and
except uncommons. For Teferi Time Raveler.
Yeah, which is still a rare, but it likes to act like a mythic. You've got 1 Elspeth Sun's Nemesis in the sideboard, and that's it. This entire deck in paper is $189. That's
not bad.
No, it's not crazy.
And that's mostly just Teferis.
Right, exactly. That's 4 Teferi Time Ravelers at $77, right? And then your Hallowed Fountains at $34. I just thought that was interesting. Mono White Life Gain. That's cool. Heliod Suncrowned. This is not a card really that is speccable at this point, as it is already up to $16 in paper.
And played in Pioneer. In
Pioneer, and that's the thing. I don't think this card is going to get any cheaper. Pioneer, Ballista, Heliod combo has proven to be good but not game-breaking, and so it's maybe going to find a home in that meta as a deck. So that alone is going to keep Heliod's price up. And then the fact that, this is a mono white deck that is already operating at a 5-1, in a Standard challenge level. It's not going to get any worse as we add white cards to the meta. You know what I'm saying? It's going to lose at rotation. It'll lose Healer's Hawk. I believe it won't lose a Johnny's Pride Mate because that got reprinted. I might be wrong about that with a Johnny's Pride Mate, but a lot of this deck is still going to be there. when we do reach rotation at the end of this year sometime.
Again, when we're talking about indestructible god that costs 3 mana, that is really the number. When I think about an Eternal format, when I think about Pioneer, or I think about Modern, it's like those cards that are 3 and 4 cost, and that can be the difference. If Heliod cost 4, I don't think it would be playable in these formats. It's just a little bit too slow. But the fact that it costs 3 is so easy. It's so easy to get to.
And you want to talk about Devotion being able to be turned on? 5?
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and its ability to give another target creature lifelink until end of turn is freaking huge.
Yeah, he can
like
enable
giving
his own
something
ability.
lifelink is huge, dude.
Right.
Yes. Like, of course a Johnny's Pride Mate loves this card. This card is this card is so good. I think that, you know, eventually something will happen to where either Ballista or this card needs to go. I need to look at the format more closely, but in my mind when I think about it, I think it's a little bit much. It's a little bit too easy to turn on. So
sure, the
I don't
combo.
know. Time will tell.
I do think
the combo is
that
too easy to turn on.
15, 16 bucks at Mythic for a 3-cost indestructible on Heliod. You know, it's, if you want to play this, again, this isn't highly specable, but if you think you might want to play this card, you're going to want 4, because the combo deck definitely wants 4, and the standard deck probably wants 4. I've seen some versions of the standard deck running 3, but you want to give yourself the option. It's probably time to pick this card up, because if you want to play it, it ain't getting any lower.
Yeah, it is being opened in mass in the collector's boosters, and obviously Theros Beyond Death just came out, so a lot of people are cracking open these packs.
Right.
Draft and Sealed is going to be really popular over the next few weeks, or even a month. And after that, you know, the prices are really going to start to go back up. The card is really, 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 really good. I can't say definitively whether it's going to go higher. Maybe it will dip lower. I don't know, but it's definitely a card to keep your eye on.
Yeah, it's definitely a card to watch. That is going to bring us to the end of this week's look at our finance state of the game. We appreciate everybody watching. Like we said, if you wouldn't mind hitting subscribe, it really helps us out. If you want to support us further, we got a Patreon for exclusive access to giveaways. Make sure you go check that out. And if you want to hang out with us, we're streaming twice weekly, Tuesday and Thursday evenings over on Twitch. Jake, I'm tapped out.
And I'm here, baby.
Oh, wow. There you go. Catch you later.